If it can change somebody's perception about the city, about themselves, that's where it really hits.
I love to see an idea get built. It's almost not an idea until you see what it became.
I actually really clearly remember the first day of architecture, and I remember thinking specifically after studio class that I will never see the world the same again.
I think it's the ups and downs and a constant evolution that is sort of what keeps us going, what keeps it interesting. We had very little to follow in terms of our peers when we first started. We were never expected to be where it is today. We had no idea what the blueprint for the firm was, but it just keeps on evolving. I think that's really what ultimately is interesting about it.
Take us through some of the highlights of your firm. How did it begin? How it's sort of ups and downs?
To me, it's the full range of things. Let's say two examples. One was when we won the Future Project of the Year at the World Architecture Festival in Singapore in 2014, and being at the top of this amazing hotel and celebrating that, versus there was a woman in the peasant bar who came to us and said, "Oh my God, you designed my house, and we had no idea who she was." And it turns out that she was one of the owners of an affordable, low-income condo development that we did. And she was so grateful that somebody taking care to design her place, and she knew our names and gave me a hug. And that was so, compared to the sort of high-flying experiences out in the world, to that where you know that you're doing something meaningful is the best part.
Getting published in Architectural Record meant something. It was like this magazine that I remember reading as a student at U of M. Somebody showed me this magazine and it opened up this world, and then to get published in that magazine was a moment that I think we recognized as, okay, that feels like something. So something that unexpected in my career anyways.
What are some of the projects you feel proud of in relation to how it played out in the community?
Oh, certainly for me would be the Old Market Square stage, the Cube, because it started a conversation about architecture in the city that we hadn't seen before. And this was 2010. People had such opinions. They either really, really hated it, which was kind of awesome. There was a Facebook page for tearing down the Cube. And then on the other hand, the architectural press was enamored by it. I think that kind of, that you can touch people and they have an opinion about architecture was something that's really a highlight for me.
What's next for you in your practice?
Part of it is doing more of the same and continuing on the path that we've had and enriching it through new clients, through new people, through new communities we affect. But the other part is opening doors for a younger generation of UM grads.
I would add, though, that it has to be sustainable. I know it's a bit of a buzz thing to say, but the same thing with social equity, that, answering the housing crisis in our case is a big part of what we ponder with day to day.
It also feels like there's a huge challenge in front of architecture in a global sense and in a really big sense. How do we use this platform to engage some of that? And so maybe as we start to move into the second half of our careers, not the office we hope has a forever projection, but there's an urgency to be doing things that matter and work on those types of projects and those types of problems that the world is facing. So I feel like we feel that urgency as much as we feel the urgency to keep doing what we have been doing, which is building community and being part of where we are.
Nearly 40% of the CO2 emissions in the world come from buildings, so architects have a huge responsibility to do something about the climate crisis, and we should be at the forefront of trying to figure out how to change the future.